All right, aloha friends, Brian Gossett with GM Sports Media, another episode of Game Time with the Goss powered by Grey Wolf Promotions and K9 Kind Resort. My guest today is Cleburne coach, girls basketball coach Tiffany Hill. They're just coming off the end of the regular season, 14-0 in District 8-5A, their first district title in 12 years, and they'll get set to open the first round of the D1 5A D1 playoffs with Arlington Heights early next week. Tiffany, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Brian, I sure appreciate you having me here today. Thank you.
So let's start with this district title. This is your second year. You mentioned in year one, you guys pretty good program, but you guys just missed the playoffs by a few points in the last game of the regular season. And now year two, just levels up from that. 14-0 now in district. Again, winning the first title in more than a decade. Just talk about this special and historic moment.
Man, I'll tell you right now. So last year, being a first year head coach, and brand new to the scene, I learned a lot. All right, I learned a lot in that first year, and so my team last year consisted of nine sophomores and one junior. And so they were young. I felt like I was young, brand new coach, trying to figure things out. So last year, it was important for us to really just jump in and see what the game is all about. Start looking at things that we do well and things that aren't so much our strengths and things that we need to really improve on. And so that's what we kind of did in the off season. I spent the I want to say about 3 months just looking at what I feel like it was going to require us to go to the next level in order to take this team from missing playoffs by 2 points to going into playoffs and making sure that we solidify a playoff spot as we come into this season. So we spent a lot of that time in the off season building and growing and doing things that really probably were uncomfortable for our players. But I think now they see the benefit of the buy-in and being pushed.
Was there a moment there after, that kind of heartbreaker you mentioned against Everman last season where either after that game or the next day or possibly sometime in the off season where you had a little moment with your girls and say, "Hey, we're going to be back. We're going to be better next year."
Yeah, I think it didn't take very long to sink in. I think as soon as that game was over, the next morning it hit, our season's over. You're not getting up and preparing for practice, so that's when, we had to, get it embedded into our girls' heads. Ladies, hey, look, we missed our mark and that's okay because we have to look at it not as a loss, but a learning experience. What can we learn from what takeaways can we take from these moments? And how can we build from it and be better? Not every team has the opportunity to be able to grow through, growing pains is what I call it. Go through and grow through a lot of things that you need to experience. So you have the next day to rebuild. You have the next year to reset so you can be better from year to year.
Do you kind of attribute this success with the large returning group? Sometimes we see first year coaches kind of takes a while, and then year two, they come alive. Or is there anything else that you attribute this success this year?
Hey, you said they come alive. Yeah, honestly, I was blessed to come into a group of kids that, I have about five kids. They played basketball together when they were at the middle school, elementary level. So I have five kids out of like 12 that have, some background in basketball, and the fact that they come in and they've played together, they know a little bit about the game. They understand, bits and pieces of the game that helps out a lot. But a big component in what we do is it, like I said, it's the buy-in. I mean, yeah, you can have all of those things. Talent will only get you so far. It takes, everybody to buy in and do all of the little things in order to really see your season end up successful.
You've mentioned buying in a couple times, but for this season, was there a moment or game that you kind of saw, okay, this we could make it a special year and go and win district?
Yeah, so one of the things that I did this season is I changed the level of competition from, and I'm talking about I did it from the fall all the way through our season, and I tried to find as much. I mean, the tournaments that we were in the Mavs, Dallas Mavericks tournaments, top teams there. We were in that Allen Hoop Fest. You're gonna see some top teams there, teams that have competed in the state, and then we played in the Mansfield tournament as well. So every one of those tournaments. I wanted to find the best competition that I could in the area so our kids could say, you know what, even if we're not even if we're not winning, we're at least competing against the best. And that's the only way that you can really grow is if you're not afraid to play against the best. So you asked me, what did you say this season? When did I recognize it was going to be like, oh, something special? Probably we got a reality check at our second game. I think it was against Alito. And going into that game, I knew Alito's, Coach Odd have a lot of respect for him and what he's done in this program over there at Alito. And I knew we were going to be tested. And so when we went into that game, yeah, we did not win. We lost by two, but I saw the competitiveness in my team. I saw our fight and I saw our grit, so that really did help me look and see, okay, we have an opportunity to, to do something special. And then after that, I think it was playing people in the Mavs tournament. We're playing, Oak Grove and Reedy. We saw Mark Mills. We saw Brock early in the season. And I'm talking about, you go through our schedule and we have played some teams that you're going to see as a lot of people's districts are over. The teams that we played, they're into their next season.
I'd like to give a shout out to one of our partners, K9 Kind Resort, the new doggy daycare in Justin, Texas. You won't find anything like it out there. K9 Kind Resort, they offer boarding, daycare, and grooming services for a man's best friend. In honor of number 9, Ashley Fouts, Elizabeth and Bill Fouts and their staff will make sure your doggy is taken care of with playtime, treats, and more. So when you go on your next vacation, please consider K9 Kind Resorts. You can call them at 940-946-4444 or visit their website at k9kindresort.com. Talking with Cleburne girls basketball coach Tiffany Hill. You guys get started here, the playoffs, 7 p.m. Monday, the 16th against Arlington Heights in the 5A D1 bracket. Wilkerson Grinds Center in Fort Worth. And then, if you're able to win that game, most likely, defending champs Denton Ryan. Just kind of message for the girls here as you got a little bit of a break, and then just, what's it going to take to, kind of make a playoff run?
I think my apologies. I think the biggest thing for me is making sure our kids understand that everybody is 0-0 at this point, and so um just we got to take care of one game at a time. Can't look forward. There's no opportunity to look backwards, so you got to be where your feet are right now and give it 100%. And as long as we do that, then we won't have regrets. And as long as we play at our best, I'm okay with living with whatever the consequence is, good, bad, or indifferent. So just, be where our feet are, embrace the moment, play hard, and understand that, you know, every team is 0-0. So it doesn't matter what they did before they got here. They're here, just like we are.
Awesome. So now I have to ask, kind of outside of the basketball world, for you
Okay.
personally, with football, because we talked a little before, and you've been involved with football. Uh, yeah, just how did that kind of happen, and what do you remember most about your football days?
I'm gonna say, okay, so my story is I had the opportunity to coach at the high school level for 2 years when I was over at Burleson. So I was a Burleson high school football coach. The first year I was a running backs coach. The second year I was a receivers coach. So when I played, I was on the offensive side as well, mainly running back, but I played a little slot receiver. And so that opportunity really just it fell into my lap. Just being who I am, right? I think that's really how it ended up. I work hard. I'm not afraid to push kids and challenge kids to be better. And that created that opportunity and opened that door for me. So that was my first opportunity to get into high school coaching, was being a high school football coach and a girls freshman basketball coach for 2 years. And so, outside of that, I've done some stuff with USA Football. I'm a youth master trainer, is what we call them, and also on the coaches council. So the big part of it and the big takeaway is I love sports that require you to use team. You can't do it by yourself. I'm not sure how good of a swim coach I would be, or a tennis coach, because you don't necessarily have to use as much teamwork. But, I enjoy it. I enjoy sports. I played women's tackle football for 10 years. A lot of people are astonished by that. I was a pretty good running back. I'll put it out there. I'm not going to say I was the best, but, I played with some of the best women in the game. Most of my teammates played on the USA women's national team. The women's community in tackle football is pretty small, so a lot of people know me there, and I'm just grateful that I was a pioneer in that game.
And you mentioned you played for a couple of Texas teams.
Yeah, so I first started my career out. I played for it was called the Dallas Diamonds at the time. So if you ever go in and you kind of research like Tiffany Hill, Dallas Diamonds, you might see a video from when I was, I don't know, maybe 22 years old running. I used to run real fast.
It's truck stick and all that stuff.
Yeah, so
Hurdle.
I was always small. People always ask me all the time, did you run people over?" No, I try to make people miss me. That was my goal, to see if I could use my vision and my footwork, to get in and out of things. But anyways, I did that. I played for Dallas Diamonds, and then I played for a team called Dallas Elite, and then I finished my season with Texas Elite, and I still do things with Texas Elite now. Like if they need to, they want me to come help assist in something, and I'm available. I pour back into those women that are, trying to grow the game in that way.
You started with Burleson, and at the time it was Jon Kitna who, had a long NFL career and spent time with the Cowboys. I don't know, were you a little starstruck, or I mean, what was it cool to kind of work with him?
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is, I wasn't even interested really. Like I said, I got out of coaching just for a little bit and started training. And I wasn't really interested in getting back into coaching because I thought I wanted to be a principal. And so when Jon Kitna reached out to me about wanting to potentially, know what I know, what do you know about football? Or hey, let me see if you might be able to fit in this coaching staff. It wasn't I was starstruck, but I was more like, oh, so somebody of that capacity may want me to be a part of his staff. Now that's pretty encouraging. So I just looked at it more of like this is a cool opportunity and I don't want to miss out any opportunities. But Jon Kitna, I tell him whenever I have a chance, if he watches this, I'm so grateful that he wasn't afraid to think outside of the norm, to go
Yeah.
outside of the box and say, you know what, I'm not looking at you for being a female. What do you know? What can you pour into? What can you pour into our kids? It's not about are you a male or female? It's do you have the power to impact kids? And so he wasn't afraid to give me a chance, and we did some great things. So pretty fun staff. I know Andre Gerard was on that staff. He was a good friend of mine. Hey Dre, if you catch this, Philip Tanner, he's over at Burleson now as the boys' head football coach. He's over there. He was a part of our staff. And Don Rayola, he's over. His son is a quarterback. Was the quarterback for Nebraska. So it was really cool that I had the opportunity to coach with four NFL guys during that season. So it's pretty awesome.
Now, I mean, I'm assuming you played basketball too in high school.
Correct.
I don't know can you kind of tell me maybe the biggest difference between, running the fast break transition and versus getting the handoff on the gridiron?
Yeah, so the cool thing about football is it's I played a lot like basketball. For me, it was like basketball on a football field. But I don't have to worry about traveling. I don't have to worry about double dribbling. I don't have to worry about anything. So literally, I can use my vision to get in and out of things. And so the one thing that I do like about football is the adrenaline rush that comes with it. Like, when you get that handoff, like you were saying. You get that handoff and you're trying to see where your hole is going to be or where the gap is going to be at. That intensity, that anticipation that you get, it's almost like the same anticipation you have as a coach getting ready for a game. That's the one thing I can compare it to. Your adrenaline is rushing, you're excited about being in the moment, but the difference is, I know that I'm in control when I'm playing, right? And I'm in control, and as a coach, sometimes, I can just pour through my kids and my players in order to get what I want on the floor.
So, I mean, what it sounds like maybe scoring a touchdown was a little sweeter than maybe hitting a buzzer beater, three-pointer.
No, the buzzer beater 3-point shot is probably a little bit more intense because um, the excitement that you get from everybody. You score a touchdown, you go celebrate with your people that your teammates that's on the floor. But when that buzzer beater shot, it's a little bit more personal and intimate for me.
Well, awesome. Well, congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on that district title, and we wish you the best of luck in the playoffs.
Awesome. And like I said, I appreciate you and what your team does to cover, kids and just create a platform for kids and just put things out there. I know when I played, there was no such thing. And you guys are doing a great job on just marketing kids and finding ways to help us get them recruited. So thank y'all. I appreciate it.
I appreciate the words. All right, that's Cleburne girls basketball coach Tiffany Hill. Again, the Yellowjackets District 858 champs, and you can catch them first round in the playoffs Monday, 7 p.m. Against Fort Worth Arlington Heights at Wilkerson Grinds Activity Center. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. This is Brian Goss with GM Sports Media, and it's another episode of Game Time with the Goss, and we see you next time.
Thank you. Hey, let's go Jackets. Have a
There you
good
go.
day.
Like to thank our proud sponsor, Grave of Promotions. Looking to amp your fan gear fundraising? Contact Grave of Promotions. My man Bill Webb out in Hearst does it right. You need t-shirts for your next high school season, swag for your playoff run, hats, bags, and more. Check out Grave of Promotions today. Give them a call at 817-868-9653. Check out their website, graveofpromotions.com, or email sales@graveofpromotions.com.